everyone, it's Kelly from Speech to You, and I'm here today with another tech tutorial. So, I've done two other tech tutorials, and basically, these are just things that I've discovered over the last 3 to 4 years, kind of creating my own curriculum materials that I found to be really helpful and huge time savers. And I want to share them with you. And I hope that if you didn't know about them, that they're super helpful for you as well. So today I'm going to be talking about how I create templates to save time and really focus more of my energy and product creation on content by creating templates. So I use and create most of my materials in PowerPoint for the Mac. Most of this you can do on a PC in PowerPoint, but sometimes it's going to be in a slightly different location. If you can't find that, definitely send me an email or comment down below, and I can post a tutorial of how to do this in Mac, for PC, because I've used both PC and Mac when I'm creating products, depending on if I'm on my laptop or on my desktop. So let's talk about kind of why or what are some of the benefits of creating a template. Um, this isn't probably the most important, but one thing that it allows me to do is have my logo on all of my cards and materials. And I tend to have, in most of the things that I create, some sort of cards, maybe like 5 or 10 pages. I like the fact that when you're using kind of those card types of activities, you have a little bit more physical movement and you can kind of manipulate them and use them in different ways. Um, and I think it makes sense to put your logo or your store name on your cards and materials so that if people see them, at a school that they're at, that they know where to look for you online. So, the second reason, and this is the real reason, is just to save time formatting. So, when I first started off, I would spend, like hours. It would be like 8 hours to create just, my cards, and I was doing boxes for each card, and then I would have to make sure that they lined up, and my text would be all wonky, and I would be trying to get that, in the correct area. And I just spent a ton of time formatting. So I was maybe spending, I don't know, per product, maybe 100 hours, just formatting and making sure that my logo was where I wanted it, and my words were where I wanted them to be on cards. Which isn't like necessarily working super smart. So now that I have templates, I can, grab a template really quickly, pull it into my product and get started and really spend those 100 hours really thinking about, well, what's going to be most useful. I can create an answer key. I can create more content that I think is more usable because I'm not spending all of that time on that design piece of my product. The third thing that I think is really important and is kind of a nice benefit of using a template is if you're doing any type of a series, then you can make sure that your card decks are interchangeable. So, for instance, I have a minimal pairs product that you can create cards if you want, or you don't have to, but they're all the same. They're all in the same formatted template. So if you buy one, you can have the other one and they're all going to look the same for storage, which I don't know. I just like them to be the same. So, and the last one I've already talked about, but again, it just really allows you to spend that time that you were spending before on formatting on content. So let's get started. Um, I'm actually going to start a new one. So I'm going to go to home and I'm going to go to new slide and I'm just going to do a blank one here so we can see kind of how I create my template. The first thing that I do when I open up a new presentation is I'm going to go to, on the Mac, I'm going to go to design and customize, and I'm going to check to make sure that my slide size is 8.5 by 11. So the default slide for PowerPoint is either a widescreen version or it's a shorter version, and that's why some products have a ton of white space around the edges. So if you change your slide size, you won't have that, which is nice. And I try to maximize the space for printing and so that I don't have to print as many card decks. or pages. So I usually do 8.5 by 11. And when I'm creating templates, I will do one set of landscape and then I'll do the same thing. I'll create another template set for portrait so that depending on what type of product I'm making, I can have that set up for both. So this looks okay. Some people I know will do like 10.9 and 8.4. So there's a little bit of an edge. I do it a little bit differently, but I think that's a good idea too. So now I'm going to go to insert and I'm going to insert a table. And I want to insert kind of the biggest table that I think that I am going to want. And so for me, that's going to be 6.6 and I'm going to pull it almost to the edges, but not quite. And then I go to the table design and I'm going to click until I find a blank table, which I think I passed. There it is. And then the other thing that I like to do, because I know when we're cutting, when you're cutting, is I make strong lines. So you can do up to 6 points. So in table design, if you go over here, you'll see you can go to 6 point. And then you can go to, you can change kind of the type of line. And I want a full line here. And then I'm going to go over to the borders tab here and I'm going to click on all borders. And now you can see I have a really thick line. And I like that for when I'm cutting in case I make a little error. I still have a black border on the edge of my cards. So these are really tiny cards, but I have used those on some occasions. Generally, I'm going to make bigger cards than this. So now I'm going to add my logo onto these cards. And if I was creating a product where, like I think I have a Halloween kind of trick or treat product where I make really small cards because I'm making little candies you can put in. A lot of times if I'm making small cards like this, I may not put my logo on, but I'm going to show you how. So if you select kind of the whole table, then I can go over here and I can change how I align my text in my table boxes. So I'm going to click on bottom and then I'm going to click over here to this side and then I made it 8 points. Sometimes I'll make it 6 point. Again, I don't want it to be really big with my logo on there. I just want it to have it on there. So once I have it on, I can go ahead and just copy and paste it onto each one. And then you'll see sometimes it reformats here. So now I've got to go back down to the bottom. There. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to copy and paste that on so that I have it on kind of the whole first row. Once I have it on the first row, then I can go ahead and copy and paste the row. So it's pretty quick to get my logo on all of the cards. Now, I want to make sure that nothing's bleeding off of the page. So there's two things that I'm going to do. The first thing you can do is you can go ahead and you can just click on print. So if I go here and I look at print, I can see that it doesn't look like anything on print preview. It doesn't look like anything's bleeding off the page. Just to be safe, I usually print it again just to make sure that everything looks okay when I'm printing it out. And if it does, then I'm ready kind of for the next step. So I went ahead and I printed it off and you can see here that nothing is bleeding off the page. So I am ready to kind of move forward with creating my templates. And now it gets really fast. So I'm going to get that out of here. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and copy and just paste the slide. So I've got kind of this first slide and I'm actually going to create a overlay template. So I'm going to lay a table on top of the table that I've already created so that I can add text to it and the text is going to stay in the same place. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So you just click on your table, go ahead and click on copy and then paste. Okay, and then I just move it with my cursor until it's all lined up, and then I'm going to erase my logo here. And you could do this, it might make sense to do your overlay actually before you put your logo on. So I'm just going to erase all of that. And then I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to go to the table and the table design. So that's the tab right there. And I'm going to go down and I'm going to take out the lines on that one. So now I have a overlay that I can put on something. So I am going to need to change where I put the text. So I'm going to go to home and I can select any text that I want. I like to use KG fonts. I think are fantastic. And Lego is one that I feel like is really easy to read. Lego House. So I'm going to use that one. And I'm going to make that a 12-point font. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to center it. So I'll center if I'm just doing a single word or a vocabulary label. If I am doing more of a text base, I usually align it to the left so that it's easier for kids to read. And then I'm going to go to this box right here where I align text. I'm going to go to Align Text Options. And if you can see this right here, I'm going to go down to vertical alignment on the bottom is fine. I'm going to move the left margin over maybe by 2. And I'm going to move the bottom margin to 3 or 4. And again, it depends on kind of what you're creating. And then click OK. So now I can go ahead and maybe I'm doing ASN pictures. I can go through and I can type on each one and it's really fast. So it makes it really neat. So this is my first overlay. So now I'm going to make the other ones by just adjusting my tables. So that was incorrect. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to click on here. And this is now I'm clicking on this invisible table and I'm going to right click, or kind of how you right click on Mac, and I'm going to send it to the back. And now I can tell I'm on my logo one. So now, actually, sorry, there's one more step before then. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a shape. So I'm going to insert a shape because when I'm changing this, I want to make sure that I'm doing the same size that I did before. So I insert a shape and then I'm going to send it to the back. Okay. Now I can go ahead and I can delete this whole row. Oops. I love the undo button. I want to delete the whole column. So I'm going to click delete column and then I'm actually going to delete the other column. That's that invisible one right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this forward, send it to the back, and then I need to pull this other one forward. And then I've got to find, and then I'll go ahead and I'll take that shape out too. So I delete the shape, and now you can see that now I only have 5 columns on up here. So now I've got a different set of cards that I'm actually going to go ahead and right click on that and send that to the back, so that then now if I copy and paste it, I'm right at where I can enter in my text. Okay, so then I just keep doing this. So now I'm going to go to the next one. I make a copy again, and I'm going to send this shape to the back. And now I have this one here. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete another column. And then I'm going to send that to the back. And now I've moved that to the front. So again, I keep doing this by deleting the columns or deleting the rows until I have a whole set of templates. So once I've gone through, you can kind of see now here I've gone through and created all of these templates that then I can pull into the next thing that I'm working on. And a lot of these shapes I probably wouldn't use, so you would make the ones, that you use a lot. Like I tend to use this one a lot and probably that one. So usually I have 9 to 12 cards on a piece of paper. One thing that I do sometimes try to do, sometimes when you're moving them around, one row will get smaller than the other. So to make sure that that's okay, you go to layout over here, and then you're going to click on this one right here, which just means to even out, and this one here to even out, to make sure that all of your rows are even. So now that you have that completed and you have your templates, then it's really easy once you get into your project to just pull a template in. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So I have a new presentation here that I've just opened up, and the first thing that I need to do is I need to click on design. I need to go over to customize, and I'm going to change that page setup so that the slide is 11 and 8 by 5. I click OK. And then I'm also going to go here to the home page, and I'm going to go to my slide template page and make that blank. So once I've done that, then I go back to my formatting, and I'm going to click on the whole slide, and I'm going to click copy. I'm going to go over to my presentation, click on the slide and click paste. And now I'm going to put this in the back. So I'm going to move this one behind. So I right click send to back. And now I'm ready to add my artwork. So I can pick out whatever artwork I want. And I actually keep all of my clip art in Dropbox. So I can clip in here, and let's say that maybe I'm doing something with aliens because I'm working on a figurative language product. So I'm going to pull in my artwork. I can resize that. I can resize it, see where it wants to be, and then copy. I make sure it lines up. Copy, make sure it lines up. And just for this presentation, I'm going to make it all the same artwork on the page. And once I have my artwork on, then I right click on it again. Sometimes I have to do it a couple of times. Send it to the back. And now I can write whatever I want. So this is a figurative language thing. So I'm going to put some different figurative language pieces on here. So have a cow. And it's going to put it right where I want it to be. So now I can just go through and write what I want in there, and it's all set. So it's really fast. So then I can really take time to think of, maybe what are common figurative language things for kids to learn about. That is the end of, oh, I see, I spelled this one wrong, or maybe proofreading. Anyhow, that's the end of my tutorial. I hope that you found it helpful. If you did, I'd love to hear your comments below. Thanks again. Bye bye.